what a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, and that's about it in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello, hello. That it? Okay. Any evidence of Earth curve, formerly known as the geometric horizon?
Not from the non-inertial reference frame.
Mic check.
Hey, Rebel. Hey, Chocolate.
Not from the stands.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Armin. It's all kicking off now. Everyone's coming in.
Yo.
Yo.
Good afternoon.
Any evidence of axial rotation?
Star rotations.
What do you mean of the Earth?
Of the Earth-based variety, yeah.
I infer from the star rotations that the Earth must be spinning beneath it.
Wouldn't the Earth have to be a certain shape for it to be doing that in the first place?
Afternoon, guys.
Hey, Adam. Good to have you.
Adam, what up, brother?
Yo.
Sorry I didn't say hello yesterday. I was too busy yelling at fundies.
That was fun, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was good entertainment whilst I was working, Nathan. That, thank you.
My pleasure.
Adam, my condolences to the score of the game.
Oh, bro, mate, I tell you what, that's just maths. What a shitbag maths is. You see, the first...
you know why, though?
The
You know
maths
why?
caused the score to be...
No, don't be silly. Let's not descend this into stupidity. You know why they lost, right?
They're crap.
No. Time was the cause.
If I could have just...
There
Hold
it
on.
is.
Okay.
Thank you, 10th.
Hold on.
Who cares? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
We care.
Hello, live show, Flat Earth Debate. Hello.
Sorry.
Hello. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
None.
No evidence.
You can rattle through housekeeping. We can get to your football after. How's that?
No, I'm done. I'm only...
There is no distance to the sun. It's an apparition. There's only an apparent distance. It's relative for
Perfect.
the observer.
Thank you, Arwin. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, no.
No. Reification fallacy. It's relative density.
I've got to start saying that. Anthony Riley was just calling me as soon as I pressed the go live button. I'm like, you bastard. 2 o'clock on the dot, you're phoning me. Anyway. The reification fallacy known as gravity. That's right, exactly. Well said.
My evidence is PhD. Respect my authority. Enough said.
That seems to be good enough for some people, too, so it's weird.
So, if you're unaware what a reification fallacy is, the fallacy of misplaced concreteness, where you take an idea and turn it into something real. Like unicorns. If you were of the ilk that would tell people that they were real, then you are guilty of reifying this idea of unicorns into an actual physical thing. The same applies to gravity. It's merely a mathematical description of a concept that is bending space-time, described in the geometry of that should be the hint, pseudo-Riemannian force space. So length, breadth, depth and time, the concept of uneven distribution of mass causing space-time to bend, that's maths, not real. So it's the reification fallacy that is called gravity. Shout out to Sleeping
Rumble
Warrior.
disagrees, though. Pseudo means real.
Pseudo means real!
Means intentional deceive.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics.
If pseudo means real, then yes.
Pseudo does not mean real, it means fake, it means sham.
Okay, then no.
No. Okay.
Can't put anything in the sky through the scientific method, so no. No viable hypothesis. Sorry.
Yeah, none of them will. They can adhere to step one at best. At best.
You know what's interesting is of all the words in the English language to use to explain what you want to tell us, you start off with pseudo.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? With the Einsteinian pseudo-Riemannian force space, it's like most of the things in the heliocentric model, when a good couple of months now ago that we identified the fact that the they in the heliocentric lie is, for the most part, just us. In other words, we perpetuate this nonsense out by way of reification, but us as individuals will disseminate it to other people and defend it in the case of this specific debate. So individuals come and try and defend the rhetoric and explain how the nonsense actually works and how, no, it is really a force, because I can think of it as a force, as I've been told to do by a pseudoscientist. So these people have actually deluded themselves, and if they were to have looked into the maths of Einstein, it's very specifically detailing what it is and what it isn't. It's pseudo. It's not real, it's fake, it's sham. It's just geometry in a conceptual medium. Well, if they're telling you this, it's the same as Andrew Thomas Young telling you we don't have a geometric horizon. It's just a geometric consideration. Well, that says what the reality of the situation is. Then, at that point, you have the choice. Either reify this mathematical construct into your world, and then decide that you are actually standing on a sphere, but you're not. That's just a model, a philosophy. And when you look into the philosophy of heliocentrism, it makes it plain that it's not real.
Well, there's another word they use, fictitious.
Yeah, they pepper it with these words, and people just seem to just ignore them. It's like, if you disclose that it's pseudo, then people will defend pseudo as real rather than accept that it's pseudo. It's like, okay, well, that's your decision to reify your worldview from this maths and tell me how real it is. Well, it isn't.
I like effective. That's a good one.
Effective.
Effective radius.
Yeah, they like that word. It's effective, meaning you're going to consider your world as this way, effective immediately, by way of this maths.
How about arbitrary?
The arbitrary horizon.
No, they always use the word arbitrarily. Arbitrary. I mean, they make up stuff as they go.
Negligible too. When you're supposed to notice something that's there, that they're telling you is there, but it's not really there. You can't really measure it because it's not really there. They call it negligible.
Mm-hmm.
And top of the
R
pops.
is negligible.
Hey, chocolate. What's the new one? Probabilistic. What's that context?
Probabilistic belief. I can't even say it without laughing. Sorry.
You got a top of the pops with this one. Nominal.
Nominal.
You ever look at, can someone on the panel look at what the definition of nominal actually is and just read it out for me?
In name only.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a role or status existing in name only.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. NASA to ground control. Everything is nominal, existing in name only. Beep beep. Yep, everything's nominal here too. Beep beep.
So it kind of does mean pseudo as well. It's just not as apparent that it does.
The bottom line, Arwin, as far as I'm concerned, is if you did enough digging, it would become apparent to the inquirer that the world is not a sphere, by their own declaration, by their own admission, and it's even told to you really early on. What are we talking about? We're talking about the heliocentric model, right? Well, when you look up reification fallacy, it details the idea of making a model reality, the idea of the map not being the terrain. It's reification. Well, they've told you from day one it's a model, just a model. But you want, the fundies, want to reify that into the world that they actually stand on. But given the research that we've done here, literally on this show, we've all seen them say it to us. Their words, right? They're telling you it's not real. And the deeper you go, the more they can extrapolate in and out of the bullshit to make it seem real and give you a almost plausible explanation for why it's being reified from a not actual, not physical, nominal position like the horizon into a physical, actual position that blocks things. Now, they'll give you the justification and the steps in between, but they've told you that you've had to jump through those hoops to turn maths into reality. In other words, there's no blame to be laid once you actually get into the nitty-gritty of what they're disclaiming. They've told you it's not real, so it's on you. So, 5 years ago, and you get to this, who do I blame? Who's going to be held to task for this? Who's getting dragged into the street and whipped for this lie that I've been told? Well, no one. You just didn't look hard enough. Would be the if I got to somebody who was actually potentially, seen as being blameworthy, I'd get in front of them and go, "You've lied to me about this," and they go, "No, how dare you? You just didn't look hard enough." And I go, no, you told us the Earth was a sphere. Look at this, look a bit closer. Let's have a look at what Andrew Thomas Young actually says. No, he told you that you had to take geometric considerations. Did you take geometric considerations, Nathan? Well, yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought it was a sphere edge. Well, you took your geometric considerations and you decided that the sphere edge was in the form of the horizon, even though it tells you that it's not actual. So it's your fault. Why are you blaming me? That's what you'd get.
You took it and reified it into your own world.
Yeah. And that's why they fear us. Because we're the ones with a little torch and a little spotlight on how the people who come here to defend their fundy faith in a reified philosophy have reified a philosophy into their worldview. Now, they just want their worldview to be real. And we stand between the reality of a sphere Earth and the reification of a model. And that scares them. Because they just want it to be real. And if we weren't pointing out how it's just a model, pointing out how it's maths, and pointing out how the people who told you it's a sphere haven't really told you it's a sphere, they've told you how to reify maths. And you have. So it's your fault. Who are you going to blame once you realise how you've been deceived? And the person deceiving you is yourself. You just didn't do enough research, you fool. So it's on you, you bloody morons. And it was on me. Now I can have a good laugh about it. I'm over it. Weren't I stupid? Wasn't I stupid? Better English. Wasn't I stupid? I thought the Earth was a sphere. How stupid was I? At least I can have a damn good laugh about how stupid I was to think that nonsense. Now I've looked into it, I've realised it's a philosophy. Just a way of conceptualising the movement of the stars. Doesn't mean I'm standing on a sphere. That notion's preposterous.
The best paragraph. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, and the perfect example of that is Mr. George Boozer himself, who tells you gravity is not real, but you can think of it as real. He's literally telling you, you can just go ahead and reify gravity into whatever you need it to be. Isn't that nice? Thank you, George Boozer.
Yeah, the best paragraph on this came from the Association of American Geographers. It says, we should embrace the fiction in our science because understanding what we can measure and what we cannot is a very important step to understanding the world around us scientifically. Geographers are into fictitious geography now. This is how bad it is.
See, that's the misdirection again, isn't it? Understanding the world scientifically is newspeak for giving it a mathematical description of some of the functions and then painting that as if you understand reality.
Yeah, I think you got it right there.
We demonstrate
everybody,
science.
Yeah, convincing everybody that you need to find out everything scientifically, and then convincing everyone at the same time that everything has been established scientifically. Everything is science. Science is loose. You could just look at things and call it science, and therefore we could establish that it's real and validate it.
I'm gonna ask Adam a direct question here, because he's works with chemistry and all that kind of stuff. So isn't, when they start off by saying we should embrace the fiction in our science, right there, I would say, I thought science was about nonfiction and getting to the truth. These guys are saying we should embrace the fiction. Doesn't that sound contrary?
That was a worrying statement, isn't it? Is that not, again, newspeak for believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just believe it. It's a bit like the New Ages years ago, fake it till you make it sort of attitude. If you just go along with it and keep working in that paradigm, it'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. But the basic understanding that it's not real.
Was it Goebbels or Hitler that said make the lie big?
Yeah.
Which one was it, Goebbels or Hitler?
It's Goebbels, isn't it? Make the lie big enough and say it long enough and they'll believe it.
He's propaganda, wasn't he? He was responsible for propaganda. Maybe. It doesn't matter. The point is that in terms of lies, as far as I am concerned, the physical nature of reality, there is no bigger lie. The heliocentric deception is the biggest lie mankind has ever had foisted upon them.
There you go. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it.
There you go. Perfect. So the lie, while we're standing on a sphere, people are antipode from you. Upside down, with relation to your position, there are people hanging off the bottom of a sphere. Antipodal. Because of a non-force force that you can think of as a force that's a conceptual medium known as space-time being bent by way of a mathematical reification of pseudo-Riemannian force space when you have an uneven distribution of mass, that holds people antipode to you on a sphere. It's a massive lie and totally absurd, but it's so big of a lie and it's told so often that people have accepted it as their world. And upon investigation, it's merely a philosophy.
Let me finish the full quote, Nathan. It's expands nicely on what you said. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such a time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and/or military consequences of that lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension the truth is the greatest enemy of the state.
So, while we are turning the tables on the fundamentalist religious zealotry that is globe earth belief, we are doing it in the same vein we are subject to, with the same level of venom. And why are we subject to such high degrees of venom? Well, because we are purveying the truth of the obvious and observable flat nature of our reality, whilst in a world that has had perpetuated upon them the biggest lie in history, that we're standing on a model that merely suggests how the stars move so you can understand them. Not even that works perfectly.
Well, yeah, they still have all types of problems, right? They got the little cosmological problem that Michio Kaku lays out perfectly. With, cosmology, we're off by a factor of 10 to the 120th power, right? They still have their little 3-body problem. You got all these problems they can't figure out. They got the problem with their little reification of gravity, which is why they had to invent dark matter and all this other crap. Like it's just a story, man. It's Star Wars for adults. It's like Santa Claus shit. It's pretty sad.
You know, that last statement you said, Nathan, when I talked to that navigator via email, I said, why did they, when they used the sextant for navigation, why did they assume that the Earth is still and the stars are moving? And his answer back was, well, because it works easier that way. So the lie was so big and so strong that they can come back and say, oh, by the way, when you use the sextant, assume the Earth, meaning the Earth moving, the lie, assume it's not moving. It'll work better because it's easier.
Sounds like newspeak again, Tom. As in,
Yep.
It works easier that way, as in it doesn't work the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's various NASA documents that say the same in terms of flights over the plane. Consider it flat. Why? Well, because that's what it is. It's as simple as that.
And motionless.
Right. Don't worry about continents travelling towards you to give us the claim that we've got a Coriolis deviation observable from the ground. It isn't. Just consider it motionless and flat.
Meanwhile, Tim Osmond in the chat telling ballers, oh, I suggest you guys don't give him your attention. Meanwhile, he's in the chat.
Yeah, somebody made me an advert to similar effect saying, boycott Nathan's show. I'm like, well, you're putting out an advert for me and giving me more publicity. But there we go. Clearly you don't understand how it works.
How's that boycott going, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going nominal.
It's nominal. Or Bob the Science Guy in the chat would be saying, don't go on Nathan's show. Only idiots go on Nathan's show. I spam the chat with the link to him on the show. It's like, oh my God, these people are so thick.
Oh, so which housekeeping question are we on?
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Not in Nottingham.
Maybe some of the ballers that aren't paying attention but are actually in the chat would tell us that. Maybe.
No 39,000 mile deep holes in Nottingham.
No, we've got P and S waves.
There you go. P waves and S waves.
Man, Adam, you're sharp today, man.
See Alwyn? He got called sharp and all he said was P waves and S waves. He got called sharp. Got a compliment for it. Alwyn's obviously run away for a moment.
I was giggling to that yesterday. Was it yesterday when you...
The best is when Alwyn was just like, I don't understand what P waves and S waves are though. It's like, good. It's even better. You're like the enemy. They don't understand half the time when they just spout it. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon for all the fundies who think the sky is a vacuum?
No.
The gradient, Nathan. Gradient.
We discussed this in the pre-show, although you weren't here, Chocolate. Yeah, that little straw man red herring is purely there so that they can assume they've got gas pressure in the first instance, and they don't have to argue about where they get the gas pressure from in the first place if they didn't have a container for the gas to press upon. So without the container, you'd form no pressure in the first place to have a gas pressure gradient. It's delta of gas pressure. Gas pressure gradient's just a red herring. How'd you get the gas pressure in the first place?
Can you repeat the last question, Nathan? I have an answer for you.
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Yeah. Effusion and diffusion laws. That's it.
Yeah, we've had that for the last couple of days. I don't know why people have started parroting this nonsense like it's somehow a defense.
How does that prove that we have gas pressure without a container?
Really doesn't.
Fuck, I don't have to prove anything. I just have to say it.
Yeah, you're right on.
Okay. Copy that.
Yeah, that's a good. You're exactly right. Perfect. I've just cottoned on to why you've said it. Exactly. So the perfect example. People will come along, P waves and S waves as an example, or effusion. What's that you say? Effusion. Okay, what about it? Effusion. That's what you get.
Well, it's gotten worse than that. Once you press him on why the hell did you bring it in, he doesn't even know. Has no idea as to why he brought it in, what the term means, what relevance that is. Just same for S waves and P waves.
Yep, that's effusion. All right, that's an effect of entropy, though, isn't it? You'd describe effusion as an entropy increase, wouldn't you? No, you say. Entropy's not a thing. What doesn't apply to the Earth? Bouncy balls go down, go boom boom. A container's not a pipe. Moving on. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
Oh, so they're using diffusion as an argument.
Effusion.
Effusion.
Effusion, yeah. Through a barrier, basically. So rather than just having a valve like in the demonstration with bromine, if there was some sort of membrane between the two, like a filter, then that would be effusion, as I understand it.
Aren't we asking why the gas is not doing that?
Yeah, but exactly. That's what my exasperation when it came up. Because I'm like, why the hell are you bringing this up? Give us a citation, hoping to lead him down the path of reading it. He got halfway through reading it, and literally while he's reading his own citation was like, I'm not a scientist.
Well, this is why I'm confused. That's why I said, is it diffusion? But effusion by its very nature is a container with a hole in it.
Yeah, that's as I understood it.
So we've got back to a container again, where we've put a hole in it.
Oh, God, QE. Effusion in physics and chemistry. Effusion is the process in which a gas escapes from a container through a hole of diameter considerably smaller than the mean free path of the molecules. That's KJ Leader and JH Miser. Physical Chemistry / Benjamin Cummings, 1982, page. Oh, it's just the reference.
Are they saying we have a container with a tiny hole in it?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly. We detailed it yesterday with the example being a tire with a hole.
Okay. Where's the tire in their model? What?
Well, according to what Neil said this morning, that's what they're saying. They're saying we're in a closed system with a hole in it.
Wow. So Mega Maid, right? With the door. that's what we're talking about.
Hey QE, thank you for sending that.
That's why the rockets fly sideways until they get under that hole, chocolate.
Thank you for sending that, QE.
Yeah, you're talking about effusion. That's Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard, aka the photosynthetic redneck. That's his screw up. I've been waiting to jack him up for about 8 months with this. And then who brought this up?
Several people have brought it up, all of which have, without being unkind to them, seem like retards. So it's come. I don't know where the source is. I have no idea. But there's been several retards who've just parroted it off without knowing why they're parroting it. That much is clear. So somebody somewhere has used this effusion as some sort of defense against entropy. I just don't know the source.
How many times have I said this in the entropy, not the entropy definition, but the definition of increasing in entropy?
Dozens of times.
Dozens, more than that.
Effusion, it's diffusion, effusion, colligative effects, osmosis, right?
Yep. when it was said
Curious.
when it was said by the guy who brought it up, because you've said it so many times, I pretty much verbatim parroted what you said because you've said it so many times.
It was show 1213. It was a guy called Brew, I believe.
Oh, that brew dipshit. Mr. Astrophysicist. He was the one that said the second law was science.
That's the one.
That is too funny, man.
So I did actually get to listen to Tony Purcell, your little clip. Can I play it?
Oh my god, that was fantastic.
This is great. We all cool with hearing this clip?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Piled higher and deeper, Tony Purcell, geophysicist, 22 July, 2020.
Trees convert carbon dioxide, which is a gas, into oxygen, which is another gas.
No. Wrong, Rama. Plants don't use CO2 to generate oxygen. All the oxygen generated or liberated comes from the splitting of water by photosystem 2 during light-dependent reactions. We knew this 80 friggin' years ago. It's called the Hill reaction. Dummkopf. Apparently you've been swapping spit in the shower with the photosynthetic redneck, aka hillbilly blue balls, the redneck retard, that made the same stupid mistake.
So trees don't create gas.
But no, they don't. Be careful. I got yelled at about that now. So just to be
really? Who by?
Just to be very Quantum Eraser. Just to be very specific, QE, if you're listening, you little son of a bitch.
Hi there, numpty.
We're not saying that trees break carbon dioxide up into carbon and oxygen.
That's exactly what that moron said. Let's take a listen.
Trees convert carbon dioxide, which is a gas, into oxygen, which is another gas. Trees convert carbon dioxide, which is a gas, into oxygen, which is another gas.
Ergo, he is another photosynthetic redneck numpty like you.
For me, it boils down to a gas molecule at Earth's surface has finite energy.
What in the world did you get yourself into now, Dummkopf? Finite energy? What does it do? Reach the end of the line of finite energy and rip off its bra in rebellion of gas law and the second law of thermodynamics? Time to fall down, go boom boom, go splash splash. Hey? Numpty, the average kinetic energy of gas particles is proportional to the absolute temperature of the gas or gases. My word.
Entropy is not a source of infinite energy that will give that will allow a gas molecule to travel an infinite distance in an arbitrary direction. Conservation of energy is the primary natural law that everything needs to obey, and even entropy is subject to it.
What? Number one, numpty, nobody said entropy was an infinite source of energy because it's a moronic statement and an incoherent straw man. Number two, natural laws don't provide and are not sources of energy. And number three, the second law of thermodynamics isn't a conservation law. So to say a non-conservation law follows a conservation law is Dummkopf and batshit insane. Of course, entropy doesn't create or destroy energy. It doesn't have anything to do with the topic. This entire charade of yours is tantamount to claiming divorce law obeys the Bill of Rights.
So this is what I lack. So I believe I stated over and over again is, I'm a mathematician who has become a geophysicist. I am not overburdened with a technical understanding of a great deal of physical reality, as it might be termed.
What's this? Shit, hold on.
Why would you say that? Why would you just openly declare that you're a mathematician, basically?
I'm not overburdened
I'm not overburdened with reality. We don't have to work at the really is level. We've got loads of these great quotes from these dipshit
He's
PhDs.
not overburdened with the technical understanding of physical reality.
That's that new speak again, isn't it? For shit.
When I heard that ending, Adam, I'm saying, wait a minute, did he just say physical reality is not his bag?
Yes, he did.
Hey,
I
Spares.
couldn't believe it.
Hey, Spares.
Hey, is the microphone
You're
okay?
all good. You sound great. All good.
Fantastic.
Pleasure to have you.
Excellent. I don't want to interrupt John's breaking down of this guy. I mean, it's unbelievable, but yeah, carry on, John. It's superb stuff.
We're just to be clear, we're not saying that we'll break gas to another gas. I had the same reaction, like, he just said that.
Yeah, because he knows he's been pummeled on it. So it was a twofer. So he's essentially conceding, although albeit in a weaselly way, that he got it wrong and he's been called on it and been corrected, and then he's self-policing the other guy, or policing the other guy, and going, no, wait, look, I've been called on that. Don't say that. We're not saying that that's what he's just said.
I listened to it like 5 times.
Because I had said it before too.
Yeah, we're not saying it again. He's not making the same exact mistake.
Like,
we're not both dumbos.
If you're listening,
you son of a bitch. Hi, Numpty.
Hi, Numpty.
If you're listening, you son of a bitch, catching me out on my stupidity. Look, don't do the same to this stupid numpty. I'm going to correct him now. He's not saying what he's just said. Okay?
No, but then
there's like 4 concessions in a row. Like, I don't even understand.
After the guy bailed him out, he goes and makes it worse by saying physical reality is not his bag.
Yo, I was like, what? You just say that? I don't have one.
At least when is it Musa? We don't have to work at the really is level. At least that's got a certain degree of eloquence to it.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought of.
I am going to take a bit of learning from that. So when I'm dealing with my students now and they're not quite performing, I'm going to say it appears that you're not overburdened with knowledge in this subject.
You should play it again.
Yeah, I mean that.
We should. It was funny.
Yeah, play it again, Nathan. That was.
I don't know if I can script through on Skype to the end bit. Let's just see if I can.
Numpty. Nobody said entropy was an infinite provide and are not sources of energy. And number 3, the second law of thermodynamics isn't a conservation law. So to say a non-conservation law follows a conservation law is Dummkopf and batshit insane. Of course, entropy doesn't create or destroy energy. It doesn't have anything to do with the topic. This entire charade of yours is tantamount to claiming divorce law obeys the Bill of Rights.
So this is what I lack. So I believe I stated over and over again is, I'm a mathematician who has become a geophysicist. I am not I'm not overburdened with a technical understanding of a great deal of physical reality, as it might be termed.
What? Have you got that written down with all the ums and ers?
Say again?
Have you got it written down with all the, like, verbatim with all the ums and ers? That needs writing down. I need to see that in black and white on paper.
Somebody needs to do that then. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do it that way.
Somebody's made a kind of short version of all the ums and ahs, yeah. I think it's like 7 minutes. It's going yeah.
It's put in that quote.
So he says, "This is what I lack," and he's going to teach us something, and he admits to what he lacks: physical reality knowledge,
which sounded like an understanding of reality. Thanks.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to explain anything to us then?
No, that's a physicist telling you he lacks understanding of physical reality. It's the penultimate of goofs.
What a soundbite you got there, man.
Hold on, just for clarity. What does physics deal with, QE?
Adam starts laughing. Last time I checked, it was the physical.
The physical, you say? But he doesn't have a great grasp on the physical.
But he's not overburdened with it, Nathan.
I see.
Overburdened with it.
Oh, wonderful. So it's not like pouring out of him, and he's just like, "Oh my God, all this knowledge I have of physical reality." He's released his burden of it. All right, that's good to know.
It's an embedded confession, because that's precisely what you've got to do to believe you're on a sphere.
Yep.
There you go.
But calculations are so much easier.
Yeah,
So, guys, tonight
it almost does sound like that. Like, yes, I can believe in all of this nonsense because I am not overburdened with the actual knowledge of my reality. Wow.
Hold on,
statement coming from a PhD.
Hold on, Chocolate. I know a plug when I hear one. Go on. Go ahead, Chemo.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah. So tonight, 8 o'clock UK time, I'll be discussing science with scientists. That would be AB Science and Conspiracy Cats, and whoever else they have on the panel. So the intention is just to discuss science. What is science? Who uses science? When should it be used? Why should we use it? So I thought we could just talk about it right now. We can get into science and when we shouldn't kind of use science, because the ball earthers have the impression. Hold on, nearly finished. So the ballers have the impression that science can be applied everywhere in all aspects.
Right? They're probabilistic beliefs, man.
Wait, but everywhere, or should it be applied nowhere? Because apparently we've heard that we should just get rid of the scientific method altogether.
I thought science doesn't prove things.
Yeah, because I spoke with Mr. Scott, Scott Veach.
Probabilistic beliefs, man. Yeah, we heard of him.
Yeah, so what he wants to do is disregard the scientific method. He says there's not even a scientific method. And his version of science is just called science. So he would say you would observe something, and you would form a hypothesis.
Yeah, we heard.
Yeah, and then you would observe it and come to your conclusion.
No, do you want to play that one?
No, but what I'm trying to get into is how do we as flat earthers even know that the science we're subscribing to is science? If they're saying it's not science, like, I don't want it to be like a us and them, but in general for the world at large.
Come on, Chemo. It is a us and them. They're taking the word science, bastardizing it, and you're giving them like any
No, because people want to know how to gain knowledge, because people are confused about acquiring knowledge about the natural physical world, right? So I hear a lot from the ball earthers, you don't need science to know.
Well, then why do they have science departments in universities that have...
that's what we'll find out. Why do they call it science? Now, I would say they would call it science because they are acquiring knowledge. If we look at science, you want knowledge, you want to know something, gnosis, and they understand you can go about knowing something in different ways.
Yeah, but Chemo, these are the same
Yeah, but
people
you
who
can.
say
Yes,
guys,
guys,
hello,
to apply.
Everyone wants to jump in.
I know.
Hello?
But
Hello?
I'm trying to nail down
Spurs?
how we use.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
Nathan, go on.
It's like the plug that will never end. So, be here or be sphere, 8 p.m. UK time or 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Under No Pressure is the name of the channel. It's Spurs Chemo's channel. So that's 8 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that's tonight on Under No Pressure channel.
No, it's not Under No Pressure. It's Agree to Disagree on Conspiracy Cats' channel. He's got a new channel.
God.
Yeah.
Agree to Disagree. Let me do the plug again then.
Yeah.
Hold on. So the channel name is Agree to Disagree. And that's 8 p.m. UK time tonight, 2 p.m. Central Standard. Agree to Disagree is the YouTube channel. Be here or be sphere.
Sounds like it's going to be frustrating.
My goodness.
Wow. Earlier.
But science, though, I mean, is that...
So,
that
Spurs, there's this thing that these guys, because we like to ask them about their science, they then turn around and say things like, oh, well, science isn't the only way to know everything. Well, we don't say that. Science is about cause and effect. If you're trying to establish cause and effect of a natural observation in the world, science all day. But after that...
Walk me through that. How did that happen? How did we decide that is the formula? Why is that the way and there is no other way? How do we take me back?
Again, I just said that's not the only way to gain knowledge of something. No,
science.
No, that's the point, Spurs. You're conflating the two. They've said there's other way. There's multiple ways of gaining knowledge, and yes, there are. One of those ways is to use the scientific method to gain scientific knowledge of something, a cause and effect relationship. That is exclusive to science, cause and effect.
Yeah, but why? Why?
But not everything is cause and effect based.
You're not listening to them.
That doesn't preclude the use of other forms of logic or inference to gain knowledge. But if you want to have a cause and effect relationship, then we have the scientific method. And to relate to the first part, it was something that was developed philosophically over hundreds of years to give us a solid method that agreed on to move forward of what we could call science. I suppose we could dig out that history, but it's there.
Don't need to.
Just before you do, hold on, stop. I just want to add something to what Adam said. I'm really sorry to interrupt. So, yes, that is correct. Adam's right. Its roots are in philosophy. However, despite its roots being in philosophy or being developed by philosophers, the method itself is empirical. It's not philosophical. The method itself is empirical.
Yeah.
Somebody's echoing real bad, dude.
Is it me? I don't know.
Probably.
There's one other thing, Spurs. The title of this show you're going on, is that not just symptomatic and show them, once again, kind of assuming their outcome?
What, agree to disagree?
Yeah. In fact, that's subjective. That is the antithesis of science. That's subjective. It's not objective. This is an agree or disagree genre. This is not our favorite colors, our favorite running backs, favorite ice creams, how you feel. No, it's empiric. Did you hear what Nathan said? It's empirical, meaning it's observable, testable, repeatable, and falsifiable. That's what empirical means. That summarizes the scientific method. It's
I'm not arguing that, John.
It's just simple logic, dude.
John, but I'm not arguing that. Come on, I'm not arguing that. They're saying, because Adam's just said that we can acquire knowledge outside of science, but they are calling that science. They're calling astronomy science.
That's not knowledge. They're not acquiring knowledge. Astronomy's masquerading.
Yeah, hold on. Just one second. Spurs. That's got a definition too. That's called pseudoscience. So a declaration of science where there has not been an application of the scientific method is by definition pseudoscience.
Why?
Because they haven't gone through the scientific method.
That's the definition of it, man. Pseudoscience.
Not because we say so.
Not gone through scientific method.
No. We're not just saying so. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Paleontology, archaeology, geology, evolutionary biology, anthropology, theoretical physics, astronomy, cosmology, and astrophysics. All of those are pseudosciences. Why? Because they pretend to be science and they can't follow the scientific method. Over.
Agree. No. Well, hold on. Okay, so these guys now. Well, I don't know, but let's find out. So because Adam just said we can know things without the scientific method, right?
Yeah.
Oh, listen. So if we now have knowledge without the scientific method, why isn't that science?
Because oh my God.
You see,
don't
blame me. I'm
Shut up!
Sorry.
Some things are what is questions. What is questions do not enter the scientific method. Voila.
That's not what I'm asking.
Yes,
if
it
Adam
is.
is saying that we can acquire knowledge by not using science, but they have this knowledge, and then the ballers would say, well, this is science because
that's what you just said. That's why he's just given the explanation. You're saying that's not what I'm saying. He's given the explanation. I've explained that that's very specifically defined as pseudoscience. We've given you the explanation as why, and you're saying that's not what you're saying. They'll say we don't need to use the scientific method when they say science, but they'll still call it science. Well, that by definition is pseudoscience.
Let me try and say it another way. So knowledge, we know something, right? We know something to be true. Now, you're saying this is not science, but we still know it to be true.
Yes.
They would call that science because we now have acquired knowledge, information.
It's not natural science. That's the problem. That's where you're getting screwed up.
If we know something about the natural world, I'm just going to give an example of Mr. Scott's version where he observes something, he has a hypothesis. I know it's silly, but he has a hypothesis. He now says he knows something after observing it again. Why does he now not have the knowledge?
Yeah, but you're talking about somebody who detailed how the science, he doesn't even think it exists, and then detailed how it doesn't work.
And let me,
the thing he just said doesn't exist.
Sure. Can I break down an example of that for Spurs? So you're out wandering wherever this may occur, and you happen to see a plume of flame come out of a crack in the ground, right? Just poof, big plume of flame. And you sit there for 10 minutes, and you follow Mr. Scott's method. You just sit there, and it happens again. You go, okay, it happened again. So then you come up with what he's calling hypothesis, actually a just so story. And then based on having seen it twice, and a just so story, called a hypothesis because it's a magical word that implies empiricism, he'll tell you why it happened. Now, if you put that phenomena through the scientific method, you'd establish empirically the cause of the effect if you validated your hypothesis. So the most important detail that was went through early, and you did listen to it, was the testable bit. So when it's repeatable and testable, you're contextually talking about science. Testable meaning the actualization of hypotheses. Well, why would it need to be actualized if it already gave you the answer? Well, it's because that's the testing of your supposition. A hypothesis, when he says, oh, well, you watch something, you watch it again, it's repeated, and then you form a hypothesis. Well, a hypothesis is a supposition yet to be tested. So repeatable, well, that's bollocks, without having the testing bit. And what are you testing? Well, you're testing your supposition of cause. Does it cause it or not? And at the end of that testing, you're going to either validate that you've got it right, you've got the cause of the effect, or validate that what you assume caused the effect was wrong. The null's validated, hence the empiricism. But a hypothesis, my point here, is when he says, observe again, formulate a hypothesis. Well, that's a supposition.
No, he didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that. He said hypothesis.
Hold on, Spurs. Hypothesis. He said observation. Make a hypothesis, and then scientific observation.
Yeah.
Again. I guess that means with goggles.
No, but I was going to say, if he is now, we could have to define test, because if he says, I've went out,
I just did. You weren't listening to me.
I'm just going.
Just
by
listen
what
again, Spurs. Please, please. I'm going to get irritated quickly.
I know.
Show's about Spurs. Spurs. That means stop talking, not babble constantly.
Go on.
Test when you're contextually talking about science. and he is, absolutely, and he uses the word hypothesis, it's a supposition yet to be tested. So it hasn't been tested yet.
Well, who gets paid for this, Nathan?
Huh?
What is that?
That's what they're going to say, aren't they? Who gets paid for finding out whether their knowledge is true or not?
Yeah, it's an outrage. Yeah, I'm penniless and they're getting paid to make up stories. Isn't it an outrage? No, I don't care.
Well, the point is that they're able to show knowledge without this method and get paid for it.
Actually, God, no, I can't let this fly. That's got to be corrected. Actually, I do care. Smash the super chat. It's really important.
Okay.
What knowledge have they shown? Spurs?
Hold on a second. Have Spurs give us an example of the knowledge.
Okay, so they want information about, their celestial bodies in the sky. Will they appear when they should appear? They make predictions. They hypothesize that if the size is this size, if this what?
You're wrong already. It's not. How many times I tell you the other day? Spurs, cause and effect. Cause and effect. Spurs.
Yeah, I get that.
Cause
But remember,
and effect, and only cause and effect. Thank you.
See, I'm not arguing with that. This is
Spurs,
not.
when they're looking at the stars, all they're doing is recognizing a pattern and writing it down and telling you when this pattern is going to happen again. They're not scientifically validating anything. They're not trying to figure out cause and effect. They're not doing anything but looking at shit in the sky and giving you a story as to what those things are and what they're doing. That's it.
Chocolate, does science mean scientific method?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only science is only the scientific method. If it's not the scientific method, it's not.
If it's not, then why are they calling it science?
Hold on, hold, Spurs.
Don't attack me.
Spurs, I'm not attacking you. I just want to be able to speak unimpeded. We're talking about natural science. That was clarified also for you earlier by QE. When we're dealing with the physical and natural world, and in this instance, the stars would fall under that category as natural phenomena. So therefore, it does fall under the natural sciences, and that is the scientific method only. That is science.
All right, let's move on to who can use science. Because remember, these guys are being paid. What gives us the right to apply this method?
No right. It's just a method. It's not political. Stop. It's not about rights. Anybody can apply this method. It's just a method. If you choose to apply the method, that's up to you. You can do it in your front room if you've got a phenomena observed in nature that you want to study. And you just put it through the methods. That's it.
Nathan, what about the peer review? How do you validate that what you've just done is correct?
Part of the method. Systematic experimentation. Observe natural phenomena. Spurs! Spurs! I don't want you interrupting me after 10 seconds. If that. It's part of the method. Number 1, observe natural phenomena. Number 2, formulate hypothesis. That's your supposition yet to be tested. Then test the hypothesis. Systematically. That means more than once by multiple parties following the same process, so that you can validate that it's not just a one-off accident or you did something wrong in your actual methodology when actualizing your hypothesis. So systematic experimentation is part of the method.
Yeah, who? I'm asking, is it you that does it over and over again?
Anybody. It's a method.
To speak to me about... Nick, let me finish my question.
You said who? And I've told you twice. Anybody.
Not even finished. I'm trying to give you the full question so you can get the full frame of what I'm trying to say. So,
go ahead.
Now I forgot my point now.
Go on, then I'll round out for the after show. Go on.
I forgot my point now, but go on, I forgot my point.
Well, with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you watching live. However, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. A massive thank you, again, to all of you in the live audience and Discord and G+ for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Spurs is ace.